Well, let's bring in now the Indo-Pacific Affairs analyst, Victor Teo, who joins us from Singapore. Good to have you back with us, Victor. This is an extraordinary time for South Korea, not only for its politics, but also for the public at large. Do you believe that what the president had sought to impose, that emergency martial law measure, was a desperate attempt to cling on to power? Because we know his popularity in South Korea has plummeted.
Yeah, I think for sure that's the case. He has had a very difficult 2 years since he won the election by a very thin margin of about uh, if I recall correctly, 0.8%. The domestic politics in South Korea is vicious, and I think he has had a hard time trying to put his agenda into place. Uh, in 2004, what really happened was that the opposition party won majority of the seats in the National Assembly, and that even created more problems for him, making him the lame duck president. So, and you know, it shows the state of affairs in South Korean politics. So I think this is, yeah, I would say that it's a definitely a attempted coup of sorts against the South Korean constitutional government.
And as our correspondent Frank was explaining, we know that an impeachment vote could be going ahead in the next 24 to 48 hours. How do
Yes.
you expect that will play out? Could he, at this point, possibly survive that impeachment motion?
I'm skeptical that he would survive it. I mean, it will require a lot of nerve on the part of the people in his party, the members of parliament in his party to support to stand up and say that they support Mr. Yoon's attempted coup. I think it's going to be a very unpopular thing to do, and I'm expecting that members of his party would actually cave and not support Mr. Yoon in this case. Already, we are seeing different politicians and even members of the military saying that they support the people, regardless of how vague it is. So I'm expecting that it's very likely that Yoon will get into more trouble going forward. And I suspect that in time to come, he might actually be facing, um, legal charges if the opposition would have their way.
Yes, and Victor, we know that there is a clause in the South Korean constitution for leaders to impose martial law, but only in the most extreme of situations. And it is agreed by and large that there was no such situation that warranted this emergency decree. But just explain to us South Korea's history with martial law, because the fact that we are continuing to see crowds of protesters take to the streets even after this motion was quickly reversed, it really strikes a chord with the people of South Korea, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the political culture, and in South Korea, it's very if you like, they have a very vibrant political culture, a democratic culture that and the young people of South Korea during the 1980s have made it abundantly clear that they do not like dictatorships. So during the 70s and 80s, there were pitched battles on street battles against the government, with the young students coming to the forefront to protest against what they perceive as an authoritarian government. Um, so South Korea is kind of different from the other countries in East Asia. For example, Taiwan. In Taiwan, the government was the one, Kuomintang was the one that, if you like, that embarked on the democratization thing. But in South Korea, the democratic culture is very strong, especially at the grassroots level. So at any attempt to have a coup will be met with fierce resistance from the ground. And what we are seeing now is actually what we are seeing now on the streets of Seoul is actually a testimony to the spirit of democratic spirit of South Koreans in play.
Okay, Victor Teo, we'll have to leave it there, but thanks as always for joining us on the program.